Chapter 1. Obi Loses It All. In the town of Umunze, there was a young man named Obi. He was the only child of Mr. and Mrs. Okoye, who loved him dearly and instilled good morals in him. They were a happy family, spending their free time together, playing games and watching movies. After finishing secondary school, Obi wondered what to study at the university. His father wanted him to become an engineer, while his mother hoped he would become a doctor. They each presented their preferences to him, but assured him that he could study whatever he liked and that they would support his choice. After thinking hard, Obi decided to study architecture because he had always had a passion for drawing. His parents were happy with his decision and told him how proud they were. He registered for his exams and studied very hard for them. When it was time to check his results, Obi and his parents were very nervous. They finally checked, and they found out that he had passed with flying colors. Everyone was so excited that his mother cooked their favorite meal, fried rice and chicken. Soon after, Obi started university and began attending lectures with other students. His parents' teachings never left him, and he kept good company at school. In his final year, Obi was returning to his hostel after classes one day when he received his call from his father's younger brother, his favorite uncle, Uncle Austin. "Hello? Uncle Austin, best uncle in the world. Uncle, you know it has been a long time since you took me out." "Good afternoon, sir," Obi greeted. Uncle Austin sighed loudly and remained quiet. Obi became worried because his uncle was usually chatty and pleasant. "Uncle Austin, is everything okay?" Obi asked, his voice filled with concern. "Obi, I think you should come home," his uncle replied. "I can't. My school is in session. What has happened?" "Your mom and dad." "Obi, your parents." "What about mommy and daddy?" "They were in an accident, and we lost both of them." "What do you mean, uncle? I just spoke to mommy yesterday now. Lost them how?" His uncle sighed loudly again and let out a loud cry. "Ew! My brother is gone," he said, more to himself than to Obi. "Obi, your parents are dead." No, that's not true," Obi cried out, but his uncle confirmed it was true. Obi broke down in tears after the phone call with his uncle. His roommates consoled him, but he couldn't stop crying. His parents were everything to him. How was he going to live without them? He spent many days crying, but eventually had to travel home for their burial. After the funeral, he returned to school to write his final exams. The death of his parents almost affected his performance, but he fought to pass and make them proud. Not long after, he finished school and returned home to take over his father's business. On arriving home, he received the biggest shock of his life. Chapter 2. The Great Shock. Obi arrived at his father's compound and found that their gatesman, Felix, was nowhere to be found. He knocked loudly for some time before another man he didn't know, wearing a security uniform, came to answer the gate. "Yes? How can I help you?" said the gateman angrily. "Why did they knock like fool?" "This is my house," said Obi, not believing his ears. "Who are you? Come on, open this gate." "Oga say my no open gate for anybody until he come back," the gateman responded. "So you go wait. You hear? You go wait." "Uncle Austin," said Obi, not believing his ears. "This is my father's house. Open this gate now." Obi wanted to go in, but the man did not allow him. Obi struggled and tried to fight his way into his father's house, but to no avail. He then decided to sit outside and wait for his uncle to return. It was getting dark, and the weather was becoming cold, but Obi remained outside waiting for his uncle. Finally, his uncle returned by 8 p.m. and was driving into the compound when Obi stood up to talk to him. "Uncle Ostino, good evening, sir. I've been waiting outside for you, as your new security man did not want to let me in." "That guy is rude, though," Obi added playfully. "Even called me an idiot. Called me so many things. But I'm sure it's because he doesn't know I'm your best nephew, that's why." "Yes, he was acting on my instructions. What are you doing here?" "Here," said Obi, reacting the same way his mother did when she heard something ridiculous. His uncle's question surprised him. This was his father's house. The bigger question should be, what is his uncle doing here? "Uncle, this is our house." "Are you not supposed to be in school?" "I'm done with school, sir." His uncle was quiet for a few minutes before saying, "Well, I've taken over my brother's properties and business. There's no place for you here." "Uncle, just like that?" The words hit Obi like a spear, thrown at him by a strong and focused warrior determined to kill him. He could not believe it. He had heard stories like this, but he never stopped to think it would happen to him. How can this wonderful Uncle Austin do this to him? Uncle Austin, who usually visited his house when his parents were alive, brought him bananas, toy cars, and anything he asked for. Uncle Austin, who would take him out to have fun, returning him late at night, only to have his parents, especially his mom, mad as hell. "I have only one child, though," his mother would say to Austin. "Please, don't bring him back late like this next time. Honey, please warn your brother. Ika Dirokwam, I don't have strength. Please warn your brother." Uncle Austin would apologize, only to repeat the same thing next time. This same uncle, Obi shook his head in disbelief. "Uncle, I don't understand you. I've been outside, hungry and cold." His uncle hissed impatiently and threw some money at him. "Go and get something to eat and a place to sleep." He drove into the compound, leaving Obi there. Obi didn't know when his tears started to flow from his eyes. His uncle had taken everything from him and left him to fend for himself on the streets. Quietly, he picked the money up and looked for a cheap place to sleep. The next day, he decided to go visit his father's older brother. Uncle Afam was the black sheep of the family. If Obi suspected anyone was going to be this wicked, it would have been Uncle Afam. He got there to see Uncle Afam talking with some men. On one side, he saw 3 of his father's cars parked. "Uncle Afam, good afternoon," said Obi. "Oh, Obi," said Uncle Afam, recognizing Obi. "Give me 1 minute." He turned to the 2 men. "The cars are in good condition," he said. "This is the son of the late owner." "Obi, your father rarely used these cars, isn't it?" Obi was confused, still wondering what was going on. Then before his very eyes, the man brought out a suitcase of cash and handed it to Uncle Afam. They drove off with the cars. "Uncle, what exactly is going on?" Obi asked, confused. "Those are my father's cars you just sold. Why was I not informed?" "You are still a small boy," Uncle Afam said, "so I don't blame you." He took out a bundle of cash and gave it to Obi. "Oh yeah, take this one and manage, eh? Life is too short." Obi tried to fight him, but immediately a bunch of touts surrounded him. They beat him up, and Uncle Afam left. His tears were uncontrollable as they flowed down his face. How could his own family do this to him? Obi felt betrayed and heartbroken. The same uncles he used to love and admire had turned their backs on him when he needed them the most. He found a small kiosk where a woman sold food and bought a little with the remaining part of the money he had. After eating, he sat in a corner, crying and waiting for the woman to close. When she closed, he went into the kiosk, spread his wrapper on the floor, and slept for the night. The weather was so cold, and he shivered while battling mosquito bites. Obi cried again, thinking of what to do. He had to fight this. He would go back to the university to rally his friends. Yes, that is what he was going to do. Then the words of his parents came to his mind. His father had always warned him about his family members and how diabolical they were. You are not strong in prayers, his fathers would say, and you don't even communicate with your ancestors. I beg you, never ever have issues with your brothers or village people, please. You're the only son I have. They will kill you with just one breath to the earth. This got him even more frustrated, but he knew he had to do something. He slapped the mosquito that had perched on his leg, sucking his delicious blood, and tried to sleep, even though sleep never came. Chapter 3. The hustle begins. Thief! 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 Help me! Thief! Thief! Help me! Thank God he could not sleep. As Obi heard the kiosk owner shouting when she came to open her kiosk. Please, ma, Obi cried, kneeling down and praying no one had heard her shouting. I'm not a thief, oh. I just needed somewhere to sleep. Please, ma, see my small load here. Obi pointed at his bag nearby. I am so sorry, ma. I am not a thief, please. He apologized to her and begged her to give him a job. She laughed and pointed at him. You, what can you do? He still looked clean, with his well-ironed shirt that was now sporting a few creases here and there, and his neatly tailored trousers. Even his shoes were clean. See here, mama, I can cook, I can clean, wash plates, and even serve your customers. He was so happy right now that his mother had made sure he learned how to cook and clean. So that all those desperate girls will now use food to trap you, his mother used to say whenever he complained that it was a girl's duty to cook. Pound that palm nut some more before I slap you. And when you are done, you wash the fish. And when you are done with the fish, you grate the pepper. Okay? You're a human being. Act like one. Are you sure? The kiosk owner asked as Obi nodded. Yes, ma. I can do all those things. I promise you I can do all those things. The woman thought to herself for a while before she finally agreed. She told him that her name was Mama Fejiro and she hoped that he would be hardworking. That was how Obi started working for Mama Fejiro. He started off with cleaning. Then slowly he graduated to going to the market to get the foodstuff. Before he finally was allowed into the kitchen, he started with boiling white rice, then stews, and then he started cooking soups. He got so good at it that the customers tripled, and she even had to expand the kiosk. Trouble, however, started one morning when Obi was prepping the meals for the day, and there was no salt. In an attempt to get the salt from the room, he overheard conversations between two people. I noticed you no longer patronize me. You did not come this month for the ritual. What happened? Baba, it's not like that, oh. See, I've been so busy. It was Mama Fejiro and another man. Obi recognized the man's voice. It was Baba Adedamola, Mama Fejiro's #1 customer. And this puzzled Obi because he never actually paid for his food. You think you don't need me now because that boy is bringing you good luck. What do you think will happen when he decides he wants to leave and open his own? Oh, yes, he will. Is he not an Igbo man? They cannot be trusted. Baba, there's nothing wrong if he wants to open his own kiosk, said Mama Fejiro. If anything, he deserves it. You are such a foolish woman. Very foolish, said Baba. Once that boy leaves, he will take all your customers. You better be wise. Yes, I have seen it. You will never sell a single plate as soon as he leaves. His star is too strong. He's the only person keeping this place busy, I hope you know. Ah, Baba, what must I do? Tell me, please. Take his star, said Baba. Yes, take his star. Look, put this under your breast and sleep with him. No, now. He's like a son to me. I will not do such. You will, oh. Ah, you will and you must, said Baba. But for now, it is my turn. Oh yeah, remove your wrapper. Remove. Come and lie with me. Oh yeah, come. Kia.